Welcome to the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. You are now part of a small underground movement of dent technicians from all over the world. We are on a mission to change our industry with innovation, intelligence, and skill. But because we don't rely on an insurance company to steer customers our way, we need to do things different. We need to do things smarter. We do that through a network of technicians that we call the Tactical Tech Movement. Now let's get this revolution started.
Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast, bringing you all a Corona 19 Live.
You didn't even introduce me.
And I also wanted to introduce my co-host with the most, Angela Hiley.
Mm-hmm. John's a dirty fucker right now because he let out some stinky ass fart. Oh!
It was like one of them things. It was like the mustard seed. Although it's the smallest seed, it's the greatest plant.
No, it's not. You're a dirty fucker. That's what you are.
You know them ones
Just a dirty fucker.
You know them ones that are very, very tiny, but yet very, very big.
No, this wasn't tiny because it let out a sound, and I thought it was coming from our son, and it wasn't.
Which,
it was John.
That makes me a wizard because now I'm a ventriloquist.
The wall of the wizard.
The wall of the wizard. We're going to be taking you behind the wall of the wizard today as we move into this show. So many of you guys who are friends with me on Facebook, I recently posted over this last weekend that myself and Mike are launching a new division to Dent Trainer Media. And in that division, we're actually going to be doing what I like to call today the digital door knock, where we are actually targeting storm cells.
Did you come up with that? The digital?
I did. It just came out. The digital door knock.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
the digital
really
door
good.
knock. Well,
that.
like the years and years ago, and actually, I don't know how long they've been doing this in the PDR industry. But they will literally, like roofers, send people from door to door to go to door,
Yeah.
in hail damage areas and knock on their door and hand them whatever flyers, talk to them, try to basically sell them on taking care of their hail damaged vehicle.
Yeah.
So during this Corona Covo whatever 19,
whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Obviously, there's not a lot of motherfuckers going to be walking door to door and knocking on doors right now.
No.
So. And the crazy thing is, we've actually been testing this for about 2 years. Technically, we've been testing it for like ever since Facebook first launched advertising. Since Google, started doing AdWords, myself and Mike have been advertising on that platform and on Facebook's platform practically since day one on both of them. Okay, so we'll get that straight out the box. For the last 2 years, we've been working with private companies on targeting storm cells. That go through, you guys know how it is. We get our information from like Hail Recon and Hail Trace, and actually targeting the storm cells. And then what we do is we get intel on the ground, because many of you guys know, anybody who's worked a hailstorm before knows there's always a little more than meets the eye. I'll give you guys an example. We had a hailstorm that came through an area that was very poor, but it actually had a lot of factories there, and which had very high-paying employees there at these different warehouses, factories, things like that. So what we actually, and there was actually a college in that area. So what we actually did was we targeted the people that worked in that area. Mm-hmm. We did run some targeted ads to people that lived in the area because there was some spotty, nice apartment complexes and things like that here and there. But ideally, where we actually drove the most traffic was people that worked in that area and commuted from surrounding areas. Mm-hmm. So there's always intel, like what time does the storm happen? Does it cross a major highway? At what time does it cross? There's so many things that you put together, and I love it because it's like putting together a puzzle. Mm-hmm. And essentially we're figuring out a tactical plan to implement whatever strategy we come up with. And as we continue to get intel on the storm, the plan shapes, changes, moves, things like that, until we actually, what I like to call is that we hit that vein of gold.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this really successfully. And many of you guys know, before I actually roll something out, I got to have like the SOPs, which is what's considered to be the standard operating procedure, down to the actual very, very little details. And it's so crazy. So we were planning on launching that this year, and all this stuff happened. And I said, me and Mike were talking, and we were kind of bummed out a little bit, thinking that, it might not be a great time to launch it. And the more that I thought about it, I'm like, dude, this is like the best time to launch it.
Yeah.
And we're talking about like the digital door knock here, and we got plans to go into other industries, stuff like that. But ideally, honestly, I'd rather just work with dent companies. I think that's probably what we're going to do for a while. But we ended up we only work with one company per city. And that's super important because, some people say, oh, John, you're just trying to push the whole scarcity urgency thing. Well, actually, what I'm trying to do is stay away from competing, like having two of my clients compete against each other. I just think that put me in kind of an awkward situation.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to do that. So when we launched this, we knew that we were only going to allow, we're only going to work with one company per major city or 30-mile radius. I thought 30 miles sound good. We didn't want to do 50 because then we're, verging into two major cities. So what we're doing is whichever one works out, whether it's a major city or a 30-mile radius of like a smaller town, and if there's other smaller towns that have been hit, we are doing it like that, and it's been cool. I mean, it's been great. So we've already signed up, quite a few companies, and we've got over, believe it or not, I think we got like 20 people, over 20 people that contacted me and wanted me to hold their location first, just for when hail comes through their area. But it's been awesome because we're completely automating their Google Maps. We're automating their Facebook pages. We got a specific protocol when it comes to how we're going to distribute content. And on top of that, we're running their Google ads. We're running their Facebook ads. There's a strategy there, though, because I'm going to give away a little bit of stuff here. There's a strategy there because, for instance, if you get a place that's just drop dead nailed, I tend to lead with Facebook and then use Google as more of like a second line of attack, because Google ads, a lot of people don't realize, man, they are expensive to run. I mean, expensive, very expensive. You can actually do some things with Facebook where you can get some targeting and stuff like that done. And I'm not talking about that shit because one of my clients was actually boosting a post on his page, and he just did one of them things where a lot of guys do. I understand it. If you don't understand the ins and outs of targeting a market, you're going to just pick this big area and you're going to drop like $1,000 into it. And he was about halfway through that ad spend before we picked up his account and started working with him. And I did notice that he had brought a lot of traffic, but he only got like 4. It was designed like send you like a Facebook message, and there was only 4 messages on there, and none of them converted. Not one of them converted. So $500, not one message converted. It was just bringing in bullshit traffic.
It was a waste of money.
From places other than the target area. So we're reshaping that campaign now, and getting, we're still going through the process of getting the target market. People don't realize it takes 3 to 5 days to get seated in with Facebook when you start running ads. There's certain ways that you got to let the AI features take over, and then you got to do some navigation on your end. But it's been cool. I mean, that's pretty much what my whole week's been, is setting up new clients in hail damage areas and running ads, and I love it. It's just been...
I know you do. And now we're like, oh, we so can't wait for all this hail to hit all these different areas,
Yep. And I love it because I know a lot about it, you know what I mean? And I sit here and try to imagine another marketing company coming in, like somebody who doesn't know our industry, trying to do what we're doing. And there's such a learning curve. I mean, there's so many little details to understand. Like, I know, talking to some of my clients, like I know that, for instance, one of them is working in a body shop. And, several of them are working in a body shop. But the one specifically is worried the body shop's going to get backed up because there's a lot of combo work. So how do we do that? What are we strategizing, right? We're looking for a long-term plan. We're looking to target some gravy areas. That's something that another media company is not going to understand.
No.
So that's why I love it, because I know so much about it. And each and every time that we bring in a client, It's almost like we're developing a strategy session, and I want to understand like what are they doing today? You know, what's our long-term goal? Okay, maybe they are super slam, but do we want to take the time to really canvas the whole city and get your like logo and name in front of everybody possible?
Yeah.
And then try to take, and backlog your work. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about, let's not talk about filling up your shop today, but let's talk about extending it out months after the storm, after people are beginning to lose work. We've got clients and customers all over the city that's seen your logo 1,000 times.
Yeah.
For a reasonable cost, very reasonable. That's the one thing. That's why I always use, especially in that scenario. There's other scenarios. There's other scenarios where maybe the storm's a little bit lighter and there's a bunch of people in the area, and you're still wanting to get work, and that's when you just got to dominate everywhere. You got to go into Google. You got to go into Facebook. I have not leaned into LinkedIn, but we do run Instagram ads. But for instance, like LinkedIn, everybody thinks Google's expensive. LinkedIn is crazy. I mean, if you could target the right person and get the right person, you get the right service on LinkedIn, you can make it work.
Yeah.
But it is like you got to have some really deep pockets to even. I mean, like a click on LinkedIn can be like $50 or $60.
Wow.
For one click. There's certain services that work well. That's why, God, there was somebody was asking me. On one of my marketing groups, and they were asking that, does anybody have experience with LinkedIn? And he had some sort of product, and I'm sitting here looking at the product, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of research that's got to go into this before you attempt that.
Yeah.
If it's not a proven offer on other platforms, forget about it.
What kind of product was it?
What was he selling? I don't remember. I honestly, I don't remember, because I glanced at it and I realized that he was just new to it, and there wasn't a lot to be said, other than you're gonna get your dick chopped off when you try to go in and do that.
Yeah.
On the LinkedIn platform. Mm-hmm. LinkedIn is good though if you're actually in there working it yourself. The average income of the individual on LinkedIn is like really high. I don't know what the exact is. I want to say it's like might even be like around $100,000 per person. You just don't see ghetto fucking, Sheree on LinkedIn.
Oh, Sheree.
Or ghetto. Okay, let's go. Let's say ghetto Jason from the trailer park. Okay, so there, I made it fair there.
Wouldn't that be white trash?
That reminds me.
White trash, eh?
That reminds me of the dude at Mobile Tech Expo that came up to me, and he'd been emailing me before, and he was emailing me with the name Jerome. And he came up to me and he's
Jerome,
like, "Hey man,
Jerome?
Yeah, this is Jerome." And I looked at him,
Jerome,
white as could be, man. And something about it, he must be used to people looking at him when he finally walks up to him and says, "Yeah, Jerome." And I look at him, I'm just sitting there staring at him for like a cold 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I know, man, it's a black person's name." He's like, and then he told me, he goes, "But did you know it's pretty common?" And like, he goes, and I didn't know this, but he told me that Jerry Seinfeld's real name is actually Jerome Seinfeld.
Jerome Rome.
Yeah.
Jerome.
See, I grew up with a Jerome.
So did I, and he was a white guy.
He was a white guy?
Yeah.
My Jerome was black.
No, I already know who that.
You know who my Jerome is.
I know who Jerome is from good old Piqua, Ohio.
AKA crack dealer.
Yeah. No, believe it or not, when I lived in Greenville, there was a guy, and his name was Jerome. He was a couple years younger than me, but he was he was a white boy.
We should have named John Jerome. That would have been so awesome.
No.
Yeah, that would have been so awesome.
What was the name I wanted to name him? And then you're like, no, we were
like Falcon or something like that. Falcon.
No, that would be something you would have came up with.
It would be a badass name.
No, I think I wanted to name him Devin.
There's a dude on Facebook named Wolf Hammer. Yeah.
That's not his real name.
Yeah, it is. He's from another country.
Oh.
His real name is fucking Wolf Hammer.
His last name is Hammer?
How can you,
Wolf Hammer. How's it spelled?
Like W-O-L, Wolf Hammer?
Huh.
Look him up, guys. If you guys are in the dent community, he's friends. He's a dent guy.
Oh, really?
Wolf Hammer.
Wolf Hammer.
That kind of reminds me of that such a strong name like that. What's that guy who interviewed Jack Black in that one interview? and Jack Black saying Stone Phillips.
Yeah. But that's probably not that guy's real name. That was just
Hello,
his...
Stone Phillips here. Interviewing Jack Black. And then Jack Black actually looked at him and said, you know what, Stone Phillips? He said, with you, I think there's more than meets the eye.
I love it. I love it.
We should have named John Stone.
Stoned highly?
Stone Phillips Hiley.
No. I like Jonathan's name.
Yeah. I had all kinds of nicknames for him when he was growing up.
Yeah.
There's that one commentator on Fox, Juan Williams.
Yeah.
Which he's kind of like I like to call him like the best liberal they could ever put on Fox.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't get fighting mad like a lot of them.
No.
He kind of laughs it off, you know.
Yeah, he seems like a really nice...
Yeah,
he
actually
seems
seems
like
like
a real nice person.
And occasionally he actually makes some good points.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So. So we've been out social distancing quite a bit.
Yeah, but we've always really done that, though.
I am going to buy one of them...
pool noodles.
A pool noodle. Because they're perfectly 6 foot. And I'm just going to run up between people and stretch my noodle out. And give them... I'm going to be like, social distancing! And make sure they're apart, with that pool noodle. And then I'm going to run off.
Oh, they'll probably get a giggle out of that. I would say most definitely. I mean, that would be a giggle. That would definitely be, a giggle.
Yeah, we went to Costco today.
Yeah, we did.
It was so weird. We seen him roll out a pallet of toilet paper. And the wife looks at me like, you think we should buy some? And I'm like, no.
No, we have plenty of toilet paper. But then I seen what type of toilet paper it was.
But that's what that does to you.
I know.
I don't know. Any of you guys would be in that situation. You're in a store, all of a sudden they roll out a pallet of toilet paper. And you're thinking to yourself, you're like, maybe I should go buy that. But after thinking about it, I decided, but I want to go to another toilet paper they had there. If people are really fucking desperate, they had these big ass boxes of you remember that toilet paper that
they have in the malls and stuff.
Yeah,
like
the
that,
giant rollers.
Yeah,
it was 2-ply and everything.
You know what though? We probably should have fixed some toilet paper up that way because you would have had some for the shop. But you know what? People probably really need that toilet paper, and I don't want to be a greedy little bastard.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It's so funny though. My barber is a prepper, so
that's different though.
So So I'm talking to him, and we're talking about everybody's talking about that toilet paper stuff. So we're just mentioning it.
It makes me wonder if this isn't done on purpose.
He goes. He tells me. He goes, "Oh, they're amateurs." He goes, my basement looks like a Dollar General store. So he's been doing this shit for years.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. He may have been doing this stuff for 10 years, just grabbing, he'd go to the store instead of buying like everybody does now, buying 20 packs of toilet paper, he'd just buy an extra pack.
Yeah.
And then instead of, buying 10 tubes of toothpaste all at once, he'd just buy an extra tube here and there.
Yeah.
He'd go down, stick in his Dollar General store, and as he got a tube of toothpaste, he'd move everything up, and then next time he went to the store, he'd go buy a couple more.
Yeah.
And eventually his whole basement turned into a fucking little Dollar General store for him.
Yeah, that's true.
Ye who is prepared shall not worry.
Yeah. But isn't that kind of fucked up though in a way? Because I seen the pallet of toilet paper and I was like, oh, but then I'm like, we have a bunch of toilet paper at home. That is fucked up how the media and all this shit, they do certain things and it gets in there and it starts messing a little bit with your psyche. That
makes you think toilet paper is so damn valuable.
I know.
Oh my God, toilet paper.
And then here we bought microfiber towels, and I was just like, man, you could cut these suckers in half. This would be a better way of wiping your ass instead of with toilet paper.
Oh, I bet you could get it with one swipe with microfiber.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, you just have to throw it away. That'd be kind of gross.
No, you just take it out and put it in your trash can or something of that nature.
Your human shit can. Didn't your brother used to do that anyway? With toilet paper?
Oh, God.
Growing up?
Yeah, he would not put it in the toilet. He'd throw it away in the basket.
He flooded the toilet one time and decided he was going to start wiping his ass and throwing it in a wastebasket.
He's different, okay?
If my kid ever did that, I would walk in there and be like, what the fuck are you thinking?
I don't don't know. He's just a little. It's just
That shit would end up in his book bag. He'd be
Listen.
opening it up in school one day.
Listen,
He'd
we
look
all
in there
have
and be like,
family members.
"Why is all my shitty toilet paper in my book bag?"
Listen, we all have family members that do weird shit. Okay. All right. It's
Yeah.
what makes the world go round.
I guess it does.
My brother's not that bad. He's not a bad guy at all. He's
Didn't you
just got
say that
some
your
fucking weird
grandparents
habits.
used to have like a toilet nobody would flush?
No, I do not want to talk about that, John. That's fucked up. That's not. John.
You said you wanted this show to be about you.
I do not want it to be about me. Yeah, let me tell him about my very dysfunctional family. No, it is fucked up. Just they weren't like they were poor, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I don't know.
Look, if you guys out there met, well, two of my brothers. One of my brothers, you guys would, be like, man, he's cool as fuck. But if you guys met, actually,
Which that would have been Greg.
Yeah,
Would've
if you
been
guys
Greg.
met two of my brothers, you guys wouldn't even think that we were related.
No.
Like, it is fucking if you actually looked at my brother's occasionally, he's like one of them ones. You ever got like somebody in your family that you just go look at their Facebook wall occasionally just to get a good laugh out of it? Like, I'll go to his Facebook wall to count how many times he posted in one day.
Is his wall
Like,
public?
Probably, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But,
You can tell everybody's name.
oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Come on.
I don't want to do that.
Jeffrey Hiley.
Jeffrey Hiley. So, and listen, so like all of it, like one time I counted, like I'll just randomly go over there and be like, how many times did Jeff post on his Facebook today?
Yeah.
At like 40 some fucking times. Like it starts out at like 9 a.m. and ends at like whenever he passes out from being fucking drunk off his ass at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you can like watch it go from, okay, he hates Donald Trump.
Yes.
All right. And then it'll go into
A music video?
music videos. And then it'll go into like half naked, naked chicks.
Yeah.
And then occasionally here's the good ones when you get he actually writes something.
Oh Lord.
Because you're looking for something to come out that maybe over the top fucking perverted.
Yeah.
And what it was, and this was explained to me a long time ago. So my biological father got out of prison, and I was talking to him about that because he knew Jeff back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him about that, and he said probably the most intelligent thing that I ever heard that explains why Jeff is the way Jeff is.
Yeah.
And it's because when he was younger, he was a stud.
Yeah, he was a very
the
good-looking
chicks,
man.
really good looking.
Yeah, he's a good looking
All
guy.
the chicks wanted him, right? He had, it was back in them hippie days, and he had that long hair, and he had a Mustang, and it was all done up, man, like old school, and like fucking, like imagine like Dazed and Confused.
Oh, I love that movie.
That's who he was. He was like a dude off of Dazed and Confused.
Love that movie.
Had all the bitches wanted him,
Mm-hmm.
And as he got older, look, when you're like fucking handsome and you're
stuck
rolling in the bitches, you can say whatever the fuck you want. You can
Yeah.
say perverted stuff, and like people are like, who cares? Because he's like, gets all the bitches anyway, right? Well, like little by little, he started like losing his hair and
aging.
became bald, and then gained weight but he still thinks he's that guy, like back from that time period.
Yeah.
He feels like he's still that bad, and now when he says, because he says a lot of perverted shit, on like in person.
Yeah.
Like I remember when my mom was alive, I was just standing there talking to my mom one day in her backyard. And we're just sitting there talking, like, grills out, it's a nice day, John's running around.
Yeah.
Jeff happens to walk up and just kind of get into the conversation. I shit you not, right in front of my mom, he looks at me and he goes, hey man, he goes, you ever watch Pornhub? He's like, I've really been into black chicks lately and gangbangs. That's how fucking quiet it got. and the funny thing was, he was just being like, that's like normal conversation for him. Yeah. Look at her. She's just going. And, if it was like your buddy from back in the 70s or something like that, joking around saying that he had all the bitches anyway, you just laugh it off. But when an older dude comes up, says shit like that, he's balding and kind of chubby, you're just like, gross.
I just think that would be gross, period.
You're just
I would
like,
just be
gross,
like, what the
man.
fuck is wrong with you? Like, you really think
Yeah.
that's how you pick up, like, yeah, because I think I was standing there when that was being said, and I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Yeah.
I'm sure if he would have, like, had his shit together or something like that, he probably would have had, you know, like, a good gal, but no.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, that's your family.
I can't believe you brought that up. I do not want to tell people about some of my childhood experiences.
Or your Uncle Wayne.
Oh, but there's a reason why he's like that, though.
Yeah, he might be batshit crazy.
Yeah, it's just my family, my mother's side, my dad's side. It was very, very dysfunctional. Somehow I turned out pretty darn amazing. So, you know.
You know, to me, if I look back at the environment that I grew up in, and then I look at the environment that we're creating,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like the whole world that's getting a little bit more functional, because that shit back then was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that went on, the stuff that I remember we used to have two neighbors across the street that would go fucking bananas yelling at each other. Mm-hmm. And you were always waiting for this dude and his wife, and they had a couple kids, to get in a fist fight.
Yeah.
Nobody in the fucking neighborhood called the police, but everybody would be watching.
Everybody
would be watching.
Would they be like looking out the window? Would they be standing on their front
Oh
porch?
yeah, everybody peeking out the window, like watching. It was like a show, you know what I mean? It was almost like a reality show.
Huh.
I mean, almost like to the point where, I think that the two was Bill and Heidi or something like that. And next thing you know, you'd hear him start yelling. It's like, let's get the popcorn and go to the windows, kids.
Wait a minute, your mom's like, let me get out my binoculars.
Yes, she got binoculars on them motherfuckers.
She was like the neighborhood watch.
Mm-hmm. I remember, like, back when we were kids, this is so bad to say, but me and my buddies would play, like, so there was a church across the street, and we would go try to set the place up like Tom and Jerry to like capture somebody walking out of the church. But we would do it with like fishing wire and all kinds of stuff like that, and nothing would ever work. It would they would end up breaking it and like looking down at the ground, and we'd be like, fuck.
Yeah.
And God, that was just the shit we did to entertain ourselves when we were kids.
Yeah, I think that, like, now with all this stuff that's going on, with all the, like, the malls and stores and all that kind of stuff being closed, like, I'm thankful that they haven't closed the parks here in Ohio. But it's nice because, like, Jonathan and his friends and his girlfriend are actually getting out, doing a lot of stuff that, like, what we used to do at their age.
Yeah.
You know, be out hiking and exploring and just, like, you know, doing stuff like that.
That's what we used to do. When we were kids, we used to just smoke weed. I mean, that was like Willie Nelson in that one movie is like, you know, we didn't do it because it was the thing to do.
Yeah.
We did it because it was something to do.
Yeah.
You know, I remember so many times that we would just jump in my buddy Garrison's car, and we would just ride around smoking weed.
Yeah.
And that's what you did.
Yeah. You high as a motherfucker.
Honestly, that had kept me out of a lot less trouble than drinking. You know, when we got to the point where we just drank it all the time.
Do you, in all honesty, like, you're fucking high as can be. I mean, are you really going to go and do something that is, like, totally out of your character? You're like, no, I want to.
There's a lot of shit I was scared to do when I was high. There was shit I would, like, normally would do. Like, some dumb shit that I normally would do that when I'm high, I'd be like, fuck that. Yo, man, let's go back to your house and eat some ice cream.
Yeah. Let's sit down and watch a movie, you know?
We used to watch this. We would all get high, and then we would go back to my buddy's house, and we would sit down, and there used to be this TV show called Make Me Laugh.
Yeah.
And Lily, quit. And we would actually just sit there, and what the whole premise of the show was, you would have, like, Lily, get in here. It's my dog. You would actually sit there, and the individual is sitting in front of a comedian, and they've got to like not laugh for a certain amount of time to win, whatever it is. Like the comedian has like 3 minutes to make you laugh, and if the comedian makes you laugh, then you lose. If you can sit there for 3 minutes and not laugh, then you win like some money, right?
Yeah.
And we would sit there and try to play along with them, and it would only take like 5 seconds, and somebody would like make a little snicker, and the whole fucking group would just blast out. I don't even think we ever made it through a comedy session without laughing.
Yeah.
And we used to watch The Crocodile Hunter.
Oh.
If you smoke weed and you watch The Crocodile Hunter, that dude becomes like one of the funniest fucking people on planet Earth.
I bet so. I wonder if people smoked any weed when they watched that one thing about was it Joe Exotic, the tiger guy or whatever? That whole situation?
Could be interesting.
Oh my God.
Joe Exotic. If you guys haven't seen The Tiger King, you've probably seen memes unless you've been under a rock because you're hiding from COVID-19 or whatever. I don't even know what they call it now. Don't even know what the fuck they call that shit.
But like Cole told us to watch it, and we started watching this. Well, see, like I remember seeing memes and stuff like that on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? They're like, if you don't know who this person is, something about like country music or something. I'm like, I don't even know who that dude is. He does not sing country music.
Yeah, what it is, it's a Netflix series.
Yeah.
Of these folks that basically have like caged animals, and a lot of them are exotic, like tigers and bears and wolves. The exotic Joe had some
stuff you're not supposed to have as pets.
Chimpanzees, you know what I mean? Stuff, animals like that. Animals that take a serious fuck ton of money to feed and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you literally, if you have a tiger, you need to make a shit ton of money just to feed the tiger.
No, you shouldn't be having
a
tiger as a pet.
You've got like 30 tigers, you've got to have a fuck ton of money to feed these things. I mean, they're eating like a half a cow a day. Or some crazy shit like that. I mean, it's wild how much they eat.
So, like, watching it, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? But I felt bad for the animals because you shouldn't be doing that. That's just not cool. That's just not right.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit that goes on probably behind the scenes. And they talked about some of it in there, that's just fucked up. Because number one, there's no way they're like cub petting's the big thing. That's where they make a ton of money. They get like a baby tiger, and you pet this baby tiger, and people pay a shit ton of money.
Yeah, but everybody loves baby animals,
But they only got, I don't know, there's a very, very small span of a tiger's life that you can sit it in somebody's lap and they can pet it. Yeah. Because after it gets to a certain age, if it snaps on that person, it'll rip their finger off.
And that's just its natural instincts right there.
So because of that, they've got to have a steady flow of cubs coming. Well, the interesting thing is they got this steady flow of cubs coming, but it's number one, illegal to sell them. In the United States, like big time fucking fish and game laws. They say them motherfuckers are like, I don't even know what agency it is, but they're like the FBI. So it's illegal as fuck to sell them, okay? The second thing is you need a bunch of them coming all the time to make the money, right?
Yeah.
Third problem is you don't want them to grow big as fuck because then you're going to have to feed them all.
Yeah.
Which leads to some people were suspecting that some of these places were secretly gassing these cubs and putting them into an incinerator.
Yeah, and if that was happening, that's not right. That's so fucking greedy. That's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I love animals more than I probably like humans, and I just don't like...
Well, they were creating cults around this shit.
Yeah.
The one dude, Joe Exotic, had something to the nature of like a really fucking, like a just got out of prison, toothless... group of like people that society.
It was very white trashy.
Very, very white trashy.
Very white trashy.
And I'm not going to ruin it for you guys. But then the other guy had a different type of cult, which was, I can't remember his name, but it was more along the lines of he created some sort of tiger yoga to fish in these young chicks, and he was like fucking 9 or 10 of them at a time.
Well, that was him and his wife, right?
He had a bunch of wives.
The guy that ended up getting popped or whatever at the end?
Yep.
Oh, really? He was like that?
Yeah, you missed that part. You fell asleep.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys check that shit out. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It is really good, man. You want to step out and, forget about all this bullshit that's going around for a minute. Step into that.
Yeah.
Or do what I do and just fucking work on your business and open up new businesses. I actually made a post about this. There have been days that literally I keep myself so occupied and I keep myself so mission and goal oriented and focused when I'm working on my businesses, not just in them, okay? Because there's time to work in them, there's time to work on them, okay? But when I'm working on my own businesses, I lose myself in it.
Yeah.
I at the end of the day, I'll sit there and remember, be like, oh yeah, that's right, we're going through some pandemic thing.
Yeah.
And, the truth of I said something earlier. I said, idle time is the devil's workshop.
I love that.
Idle time is the devil's workshop. And that basically means when you're sitting there having idle time and you choose to, whether you decide to go down like a rabbit hole investigation of which...
I am notorious for the rabbit holes. We go on our walks and I come up with all these like...
conspiracy theories.
Yeah. I don't want to share them just because like I don't want people like hitting me up saying like,
you know what?
cuckoo or I'm like... whatever, like, you shouldn't be thinking like this, blah, 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 this and that, like, I'm gonna keep them, I just share them with my husband and with my dad and a little bit
I
with
told her
Jonathan.
she ought to be like a writer, like, she ought to be writing like a, it sounds more like the Ayn Rand, what was the name of that book? Ayn Rand book?
Didn't they do the movie? They tried to do
Yeah,
a
they
movie?
did a movie about it. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, it's a big-ass book, too.
Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, but I always end it with this. Like, she'll go on this rant, and I always say, well, hell, I think they got Governor Mike DeWine. They, Trump's probably got him held up, or maybe it's the Chinese or something with, or maybe even Nancy Pelosi has him held up with nude photos with a guy. That's my end of that story.
And Mike DeWine's like in his 70s, just like this little. He's just.
I may be right about this.
Never know, you might be.
There's a lot of that blackmailing that goes on there in that political world.
That is true, but no, I'll keep those to myself because I don't know. In all honesty, I might be right about some of them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Anytime you go too far on a whim of something that is outside of your ability to actually confirm, okay?
Yeah.
Anytime you go too far down one of them rabbit holes, be very, very careful because you're putting yourself in position to step away from reality and to step away from actual truth. And sometimes you got to step back and you got to ask yourself, you got to say, am I getting a little too deep into this? Because maybe I'm looking into it. Maybe I'm feeling this certain way, but maybe I should also realize that this might be a bunch of horse shit.
No, that's true.
And I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on, okay? I don't care whether you're on the side of the spectrum where you think that this whole world is going to be changed and this is like the worst thing ever and it's going to morph into something that's going to kill the whole planet, or if you're on the spectrum where you think it's a bunch of bullshit, it's a government conspiracy, or if you're somewhere in the middle, wherever you're at, you'll find something you can read and support these things. And you need to take a step back and say, what if I'm wrong?
Yeah.
Maybe I am.
Yeah, I don't have a problem being wrong. I mean, I will say, like, yesterday when I was outside doing yard work, like, I was actually enjoying it so much, and I totally forgot what was going on. And then I come inside, and I'm like, oh,
that happened to me a couple times when I would go to sleep at night. Yeah. And I would wake up and I'm just thinking like it's a, normal day, normal morning. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that's right. We're still dealing with all this shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
just at that moment when I was outside doing yard work, like it felt so good. And that's like another thing. Like it's good to keep yourself informed of what's going on, but you don't want to digest and let that consume most of you because that's not good. That's not good. That's not healthy. It's just...
And guys, y'all got to keep trying things, okay? So most people feel that whatever, if you're one of the individuals, and a lot of people in this industry, I know, day to day, it's been disrupted. It's definitely been disrupted. People aren't thinking about dents and dings this current moment. Okay, so you got to keep trying things. Mm-hmm. You got to keep going out there and doing things. What if you started posting on your Facebook? What if you started going live on your personal wall? All it takes is one fucking person to see you and say, "Oh, I've got like a $500-600 dent,"
Yeah.
Or whatever. I got a dent I could take care of during this time. You're telling people, guys, we're coming out, we're putting on gloves, we're fixing you up, we're doing a discount right now.
Yeah.
We're here to help. We're here to hook you up. You get out there and you got to keep trying, because it's not about how many people see it. It's about the right person seeing it.
Yeah.
And if you go out each and every day with your mission to start trying to fill your schedule, you're going to start advertising. You're going to start learning things. You're going to say, man, this works, but this doesn't work. I mean, shoot, there was a guy who commented, Todd Weston commented on, was it? I don't know. It was somewhere in Facebook. And a public comment, so I don't feel bad about sharing this or anything like that. But he had said something like he just started running a couple Facebook ads, and he was targeting the medical field. And he was targeting some other fields that specifically are not being affected by this.
Yeah.
Because you can do that in Facebook. Yeah, it's one of the things that I do. I target specific industries, things like that. And I talked to another gentleman down south, and, he's taking advantage of all these people at home in front of their computers.
Yeah.
And that he can drive out there and take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
He's finding a way, You got to come alive when the challenge arises.
If there's a will, there's a way.
And, this is one of them things. I'm one of them fucking oddball, weird people who actually thrive off of this stuff.
John is.
Because I get really bored. I almost think that sometimes that it comes so natural and so easy to me when it comes to just making money in general. It comes so natural and it comes so easy that I'll start to get bored. And I'll just be like, fuck, So when something like this happens to me,
challenge.
I start waking up with this different charge and these different things in my mind. I start falling deeper into my work. I start getting more tasks done. And I'm just it's like playing a video game, If you beat the video game 5 or 6 times, you start to get bored.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, bam, somebody hits you with a new level. Mm-hmm. And business is not a lot different than beating a video game.
Yeah.
Because you try something and it doesn't work, so you go back and you try it again, and it doesn't work, and you go back and try it again, and then try it again, and try it again, and then all of a sudden it works, and then you're at the next level. It's that mentality. It's the people that get beat themselves up. Beautiful thing about it is, man, it's being in business is one of them things where you're up to bat and you've only got to hit the ball out of the park one time.
Yeah.
But another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that people just think that you should be able to jump in and business is supposed to come natural and easy. And it's not. It's just like anything else. It's like playing a guitar. It's like, playing an instrument.
Yeah.
You got to fucking continue to practice and become better. Mm-hmm. And, continuously, again, keep trying and trying and trying. Okay, that works. Try. Okay, none of that worked. All of a sudden, you'll find each and every discouragement is a stepping stone. Mm-hmm. It's a learning. It's like, okay, I don't go that way anymore. I need to go the other way. Okay, this didn't work. I need to go this way. And you continue to do that over and over again. There's always a path. If you work at it, there's always a door that'll open for you. Mm-hmm. And it's just the folks that and I said something I wrote a post, I think, yesterday on my Facebook wall. And one of the quotes on it was, either you'll be dumping poison into your mind or you're going to be charging your soul, or something like that. Mm-hmm. I could go read that. I probably just butchered that quote. But you're going to spend your entire day either dumping poison into your mind, or you're going to spend the entire day charging your spirit and charging your soul. One or the other. What are you going to feed it? Because you're either going to sit around on the internet all day and feed it all this negative shit, or you're going to start feeding it the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know? You're going to take this time and use this time to learn. Mm-hmm. You know, to educate yourself, to become better at the end of this. And thinking that the fucking end of the world coming, whether you believe in your heart or your mind that that's true, it's not going to serve you to continuously feed them thoughts.
That's right.
Through your mind. I mean, would you rather go out scared and feeble? Or would you rather go out strong, a man with a mission, with a plan? Mm-hmm. That's where I want to be.
Yeah. There's a song about something blaze and glory. Mm-hmm. Is that a John Bon Jovi song? I don't know, you had it. You were saying something and I had like this song like playing in my head and then it just like something blaze and glory. I think it's a John Bon Jovi
Probably the government playing it into your head with that these new 5G networks out here.
Oh my god. I know.
Sending waves and shit into your head.
Shut up. That takes me back to my childhood about with my grandma and grandpa, but we won't get there. That's different.
Yeah, I asked her. I asked her. I said, what I asked you the other day. I said, how come that song keeps playing on my? It's the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
You're a little offbeat.
And whatever. And she was singing it one day, and I didn't even realize it, and it got like stuck in my mind. And then I Googled it, and there were so many people that went to that video, whichever, probably the most popular version of that one, whatever the one that comes to the top on YouTube when you type in the...
Yeah, it's REM.
REM, End of the World as We Know It. So many people, like, the day all this shit broke loose and they started, putting the 15-day restrictions and all that stuff, was just fucking blew that thing up commenting.
We were on a walk.
Like, everybody thought of that video or that song all at the same time.
Yeah, we were on a walk. I was just constantly singing it.
I was sitting there going, that's them government 5G waves.
No, it's
sending them from that new tower they put in down the street.
No, that's just like the other day after we got done watching that thing on Netflix. We were in the car going to Chick-fil-A, and John started playing some of that
I found his
music,
song, Joe Exotic's
like,
song.
Here, kitty, kitty.
Here, kitty, kitty.
And I woke up the next morning singing that, and I'm like, this is John Hiley's
Well, the
fault
reason
right
why
here.
I found it is because when I went to my Apple Music, I just noticed they had like a trending tab, and it said Joe Exotic was trending. So I'm like, oh my God, they got some of this guy's music. So I clicked on it, and they had one song, and it's that Here Kitty Kitty song.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's called, but it's stuck in her head.
Here Kitty Kitty.
Well, hey, everybody. I think we are going to go ahead and bounce out of here.
Yeah.
Been a fun podcast. Been fun hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Let's be quarantined together.
I don't really look at it as a quarantine. I mean, we're at least able to go out and still do some things.
And we are still doing 75 hard, y'all.
Yes, we are.
I think we're on day like 30 something.
I'm just trying to avoid this Richard Simmons stuff because I do not want to be doing that. I don't know. I'm almost to the point where I'm just like, if it's raining really bad outside, I'm just half tempted to just say fuck it. I'd rather just do that than do a fucking Richard
I don't think Richard Simmons is that bad.
Oh, yes it is.
The funny part is you got this clown-like smile for the first 5 minutes.
No, it's first 15 minutes.
First 15 minutes until he starts pissing you off.
Oh, you guys need to check him out and just see what you think. I mean...
It's actually $7.99 we had to pay for that. On Netflix.
No, that was Amazon.
Was it on Amazon?
Yeah,
okay,
it was
I got you.
on Amazon.
All right, everybody. So appreciate you coming along on this Tactical Dent Tech podcast.
Yes!
As usual, we're going to see you on the next one.
Yes! And get out there and build your fucking empire.
Your vibe is your tribe.
That's right.